Good morning, this is Jeff from WT Futures, back again with another video, and I just wanted to pose a quick question to the crypto community, and perhaps you can reply in the comments of whichever platform you're watching this video on, whether it's YouTube or up on Twitter or over in a Facebook group. Just if you could reply, that'd be wonderful. And the question I have is how there can possibly be so much money flowing into the exchanges trading Bitcoin and ETH right now. So at the moment, I'm looking at the FTX exchange, and I can see that there's been over $2.5 billion in 24 hours traded in ETH and 1.76 billion traded on BTC. So we're talking over $4 billion traded on ETH and BTC. Now, ETH has moved 1.4% in 24 hours. So $2.5 billion has been spent trying to make money on an asset that's moved 1.42%, that's ETH, and $1.76 billion has been spent trading Bitcoin with people trying to make money on an asset that's moved 0.78%. $1.6 billion people are trading, trying to make money on an asset and it's moved 0.76%. And all these newbies are out there desperately wondering why they're losing money trading when they're trying to scalp an asset that's moving 0.73% now and cover commissions. Uh, and what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is to trade something that's actually making money. And every day there are assets that are making an awful lot more money than ETH and Bitcoin. I often think if you had $1 million to spend on a property, would you buy the property in the area that has the lowest annual return, or would you buy a property in the area that has the best annual return? And we have the same question to ask ourselves every day. Right now, do I want to spend $1,000 trading Bitcoin, which is currently turning over 0.58% per day, or do I trade something else? Now, what's the alternative? Well, having a look at the breakout screener, we can see the relative volume, the volume flowing in. We actually have 160 pairs here that we're monitoring. Each of these groups is monitoring 40 pairs. This is group one up the top. This is the big group with Bitcoin and ETH and all of the top daily volume pairs. And the relative volume column here, we can see that EOS has received 197% of its daily volume so far today, and the daily candle has been running for just over two and a half hours, and EOS has already received 197% of its daily volume. Its closest pair is XRP, which has received 59% of its daily volume. So we would expect all of the pairs to reach 100% in a perfectly mathematical world. They'd all achieve their average. They'd all achieve 100% within a 24-hour period. However, EOS here in 2.5 hours has achieved 197% of its daily volume. And because of that, it has a daily change so far in 2.5 hours. It's pumped 13.9%. Okay, so just to remember over here, we're talking about Bitcoin. $1.76 billion has been spent in 24 hours trying to make money trading Bitcoin, and it's moved 0.64% in 24 hours. And here's EOS in 2.5 hours has pumped 13.5%. Now, how many people are actually getting involved in that? Well, we can see that as well in the daily volume for EOS, $69 million. So $69 million has been traded to profit from a 13.5% move, and $1.7 billion has been spent trying to make money out of a 0.65% move, and ETH is now down to 1.01%. $2.5 billion in 24 hours on a, there we go, it's dropped further, 0.96, under 1% move. So did we know this was coming? Absolutely, we knew this was coming. EOS has hit its relative volume 100% over an hour and a half ago. So EOS, we knew that there was huge volume coming in. That should have been a immediate warning sign to consider a trade and getting involved in EOS. We've looked at the percentage change. It's the highest in all of the groups. The nearest competitor, by the way, is Jasmy. Jasmy's received 141% of its expected daily volume so far in 2.5 hours, and it's also the best pair down in Group 2, up 4.2%. So EOS, 198% of its expected volume, 13.3% move. It doesn't actually have one of the highest average daily changes, surprisingly. These are the pairs that I usually have on the top of my watch list because they're the pairs, again, comparing, say, Bitcoin. Well, let's have a look at Bitcoin's average daily. Let's just have a quick peek here. So Bitcoin, okay, so Bitcoin has so far consumed 8.8% of its daily volume compared with EOS at 199.1%. So Bitcoin has used 8.8% of its daily volume in 2.5 hours. Its average daily move per daily candle, 1.27%. Whereas EOS, 5.2% per daily candle. I mean, that alone is enough of a reason to consider not I mean, look, is there anything else? Let's have a look. 1.27. So nothing else in this column is as low as Bitcoin. BNB 1.37, but there we go. BTC 1.27 on average per day. Bitcoin has moved 0.59%. Okay, compared with Ape on 2.49, 2.42. Atom 1.64, AVAX 1.19, so Bitcoin 0.57%, and the system has given Bitcoin a score of 0.11 based on these figures, compared with the score that we give EOS of 10.32. Okay, Gala 0.95 compared with Bitcoin 0.11. SHIB up here 0.97, XRP 0.73. It's hard to find a set of figures worse than Bitcoin in terms of its volume that it's consuming, its average percentage move, the actual percent it's moved today, and the score that the system gives Bitcoin. It's amazing that so much money is being spent every day trying to make money with these awful figures. So how did we know that EOS was going to perform well? Well, huge relative volume, a score. We're letting you know that the score is high, and we actually have two scoring systems based on the average change and the percentage change, weighting them slightly differently. EOS wins the general score and the short-term score. And look at the short-term score for EOS here, 26. Its nearest competitor is 1.28. Short-term Neo 0.55, Leo 0.51, Jasmy 6.15. But EOS here has a score of 26.46. So these scores really help to build a watch list and look for the pairs with the highest score as potentially the best trades. Breakout strength, EOS is second on the list here. This range is -50 to +50. So 0 is a neutral score where we're usually just in consolidation mode around 0. So EOS has the second highest breakout score, 21.32. And the only pair that has a higher breakout score is CHZ. Let's have a look down here. Jasmy, again, is the best performing pair with a breakout score of 20.48. OKB 23 and Spell 22. So again, these are the pairs we need to be focusing on. This is the top 5 and bottom 5 in all of these categories. EMA angle, the 6 EMA. 6 EMA for EOS is the highest angle. So if you look at the actual angle right at the tip of the EMA, a 6 EMA, so it's a super fast EMA, and EOS is right at the top, 5.23. Jasmy is the highest in Group 2, and yeah, fairly flat over here in Group 3, OKB 0.75 score, and KSOS down here. So definitely, again, EOS is the pair that's getting the volume, pumping the hardest, highest EMA angle, and we're not actually getting a score for EOS for the 50 EMA angle, and that's because it has just pumped suddenly. It hasn't had as much of a chance to build up the sort of the trend and the momentum to register on the 50. Okay, so there we go. That's really what I wanted to show you and to ask the question right now, knowing that if we've been looking at this information throughout the day and you've been deciding which pairs to get involved in trading, do we always have to leap straight at Bitcoin? Right now, Bitcoin, we're looking at 24-hour change of 0.75%. 0.75%. Why not trade BCH, CEL, EOS, LTC, any of these pairs that are double, triple, or 10 times the daily return? And we can find them easily. Relative volume is my first port of call to find these pairs to trade. Relative volume, the pairs with the highest average change. If a property in a suburb has an average growth of 1% a year, or in Bitcoin's case, 1.28% per day, would you really buy that property as opposed to the property that's generating 13% a year, or in this case, 13% a day? Now, by the way, Bitcoin is almost always at the bottom of the list in terms of daily return. ETH and Bitcoin are a couple of yesterday in any time frame. I don't think there would have been any moment when you would have been better off trading Bitcoin or ETH than the pair that was performing best at the time. And we can always find them. Look at the 6 EMA angle, look at the relative volume, look at the average change, and pick the pair with the best combination of these. Before we wrap up, a quick look at the market. So the market has consumed 18.19% of its daily volume so far in 2.5 hours. The market generally is up 1.62%. The average change for the market is 3.4% a day. So if the market is moving 3.4%, Bitcoin's moving 1.27. And as we can hear, CEL, the best performer, is moving 12.96%. Bitcoin's the third worst, though, remember, and TRX is almost always at the bottom in terms of the daily change results. Let's not worry about the scores. The breakout strength across the market is positive 7.82. So remember that's negative 50 to plus 50. So we're positive, which is great, 7.82. Anything above 10, the market's really moving fairly well. So we're still in consolidation across the market, but it's positive, which is great. And the EMA angle across the market, if we look at the 6 EMA across the whole market, or the 40 pairs in this group, we can see that the 6 EMA angle is pointing up. It's positive. So we are, in terms of a fast EMA trend, we are pointing up, and we're not registering some results over here because one of these pairs is too new and it's just not giving us the results for the 50 EMA. So there we go. Feel free to pause the video and have a look at the results for all of those other groups, and I'll see you next time. Bye.